Hi, this is Chief Education Officer Bill Olsen, and welcome to another school district update. It's always enjoyable to join you, to provide you with a little bit of information. Sometimes I have more information to report than on other programs, but I want you to know as much as you'd like about what we do, how we do it, and when we do it in the school district. It's important that you know how your tax dollars are being expended and some of the interesting activities and events that go on in our school district. Well, as I've said before, it's budget time, and we have been consumed for the last month at least with developing the budget. We have, as I've indicated to you before, met with the staff after school on a voluntary basis for them. We've had numerous budget meetings with the leadership team. We analyze data that we have that is both academic in nature and operational in nature. It's important for me to convey to you that we don't guess at the budget. Certainly the budget is an estimate and is developed about 18 months before it's actually implemented on July 1st of any particular fiscal year. But we look very carefully at what the needs are, both current and emerging, that we see in our students at all grade levels. We look at our operations and what are we doing and how can we save as much money as possible. We always try to reduce our overhead expenses with the understanding that every dollar saved through any types of efficiencies that we can realize or economies of scale in the operations of our facilities and what we do is a dollar that can be expended on a student for direct instructional purposes. And that's very important. It's very important to me, and it's very important to the school board, to the budget committee, and it's important to all of you. I completely understand that. We look very carefully at all aspects of our operations. We don't just keep adding money needlessly. We want to know where the strengths are of our students, but more importantly, where the areas of needs are for our students at all levels, so that we know how to either nuance some services, change some services, or add some additional services and or personnel that might be necessary. You know, we're all different, as I've indicated in the past. Our children are all different. Sometimes in a family, I know my wife and I have a family of four children. And I know as they were growing up, we would say, look at the differences between this child and our other child or children in terms of their strengths, their abilities, what they're good at, what they maybe struggle with. And so that's the intrigue of meeting the needs of students. That's the intrigue and the challenge of school budgeting. Look, I've been a public employee now for over 54 years, and I've been involved in budgeting in all those years. But I'm a taxpayer also. We all are. And so I know that we need to be cognizant of taxpayer concerns. But just know that there's a method that we follow in terms of constructing our budget that is in no way wasteful in nature. It's responding to the needs of our students and to our staff. You know, even as far as when we talk about compensation for public employees, in our case, school department employees, teachers, paraprofessionals, school bus transportation services, we need to make sure that we're competitive, particularly when we talk about wages and benefits. This is a labor market, very importantly a labor market, and sometimes people lose sight of that. It's no different than in the private sector. We have to remain competitive with our wages and benefits in order to be able to try and attract, train, and retain excellent employees. Technology is ever increasing in terms of a budget appropriation. I can remember about 25 years ago saying to a school committee in Massachusetts for whom I worked, that technology was going to be the largest incremental increasing element of a school department budget, and it has, because there's a certain degree of obsolescence built into it, always new applications, always new platforms, new servers, new infrastructure required, and so that's a reality. That's a reality that we live with and that we have to deal with in terms of providing reliable technology services to our students and staff. So just to let you know, we do check the Consumer Price Index for a variety of areas of our operations, between school transportation services, cleaning supplies and services, food services. What is the Consumer Price Index trending in a procurement of food products that impact the cafeteria pricing and program? So we try to benchmark as many of the cost elements in a budget as we possibly can to make sure that whatever we're expending is within normal and expected parameters that are indicated by local, regional, or national price indexing, whether it's the Consumer Price Index or the preceding Producer Price Index that oftentimes is an indicator of how our consumer prices are going to be trending. So I'm not trying to give you a lesson in economics. It's just that we pay very careful attention to what we're budgeting and why we're budgeting it, so that we can explain to our school board, our budget committee, we can explain to you, the taxpayer, why certain things either increase or conversely decrease, because some prices do decrease from time to time, and we would certainly like to reflect that. One of the things we're looking at carefully, as I've indicated in a prior program also, is enrollments. We have several developments that are still under construction and being occupied at various rates of occupancy, and those will have an impact on our school enrollments. We're trying to very carefully anticipate and project our enrollments from one year to the next. I think we've done a very, very good job doing that, because what we do is we use a 6-year, what is called, it's been called by demographers for many years, cohort survival ratio. I like to call it a term that our HR director actually coined, our cohort progression ratio. What is the percentage of students in one particular grade that progress on to the next grade? Because that's important to analyze those trends and see where we might need some additional staffing or where we might need fewer staff members. The most intriguing part of that, as I think I've indicated to you in the past, is trying to anticipate kindergarten enrollments. What we do is we look at the number of births in Merrimack 5 years prior to the actual school year that kindergartners will be coming to school, and we take a look and calculate that ratio. For example, Matt Chevenel, our Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, and I meet periodically to review enrollment data and the projections. And we found that over the last 6 years, we do a 6-year average, a cohort survival ratio, a cohort progression ratio between births 5 years ago and kindergarten enrollment 5 years after those annual births is about 1.08, which means for every 100 children born in Merrimack, about 108 on average over the last 6 years enter kindergarten. That gives us some degree of indication of what we can expect for kindergarten enrollments. But obviously, in-migration, out-migration impact that and can impact that by quite a bit. So lots of things. We've got lots of budget meetings coming up over the next, 1 to 2 months. We'll be meeting on December 4th, December 11th, December 18th, and January 2nd and January 8th with the school board. Our various budget managers, our principals, our directors, will be presenting their budgets and the rationale behind any requests they have to the school board. The school board will do their due diligence, as they always do, in asking budget questions, maybe seeking more clarification so that they can understand and bring forward a budget that meets the needs of students, but is also as fiscally responsible to you, the taxpayer, as possible. Then, from there, in January and early February, we will be meeting with the school budget committee. About 13 members who will meet with our various administrators, our budget managers and directors, and do that review process, sort of an independent review from the school board, and make recommendations on the school board approved budget before it goes to the deliberative session. So there's lots of, as the saying goes, lots of bites at the apple in terms of taking a look at our budget. If at any time you have a question about what we do and how we do it, if at any time you have suggestions for savings in our school system and throughout our school system, just either come on in, we'll talk about it, or give me a call, or send me an email. Always glad to engage with you in terms of listening to your ideas and your suggestions. We have a program, and I send out generally, since we're entering the peak heating season in New England, generally send out my Observe and Conserve memo. I worked with someone from the Department of Energy about 25 years ago in terms of taking a look at how we might be able to save as much energy as possible in a school district environment. And so we came up with a list of about 15 to 20 things that we do to try and help conserve as much energy, consume as little electricity and natural gas as we possibly can, while still maintaining comfortable conditions. Interestingly, one of the most important keys to energy conservation in a school environment is the human element factor. It's our practices, what we do. Are we careful with what we do, or are we a little bit not as fastidious when it comes to paying attention to energy consumption? That happens everywhere throughout our lives and in our nation. But we've presented to the staff, and I will be sending that out shortly, these suggestions for energy conservation measures. And we enjoy doing that every year because we enjoy saving every penny, every nickel we can. All right, so that's the budget process. Going on to some other school department matters. Reed's Ferry recently had a wonderful program honoring Merrimack veterans. 36 veterans and their families were honored by the entire school. It was a wonderful, wonderful program. The school administration has sent pictures of some of the activities, and we congratulate Reed's Ferry for that celebration. We have a deep sense of gratitude for every veteran who has served our country and helped preserve our freedoms and our way of life. Today happens to be Educational Support Professionals Day. No school system can survive without support personnel. People who are essential to the academic and social and emotional development of students, people who are essential to the well-being of colleagues and to the general operations of our school district. Everyone matters, okay? Everyone matters in a school district setting, whether it's chief education officer, assistant superintendents, teaching staff, nurses, paraprofessionals, maintenance and custodial staff, everyone has an impact on a child in some way, shape, or form, and our educational support professionals are indispensable. So we thank them heartily for everything they do every single day, because they show up with smiles on their faces, energy and initiative, and it shows in the work that they do with our students day in and day out. From the high school, the class of 2025 is having its holiday pie fundraiser that the class will begin, and various classmates, members of the class of 2025, will begin taking orders this week, November 17th. It's just important for those orders to be in order for you to get your pie or pies on December 20th. It's that time of year. It's a very busy time of year, and hopefully, if you're so inclined to be able to purchase some, you'll be helping fundraising in the class of 2025. From the middle school is starting up for the first time since the COVID pandemic, and we hate to even mention the COVID pandemic. They're starting up the rock climbing club again, and they're looking for members. So if you have a child who's in the middle school interested in rock climbing, something that I've never tried but sounds intriguing, please have them contact the administration to find out how they enroll in the rock climbing club. And I'm going to look and check in with the advisor during that rock climbing time frame, which I believe, so if I remember correctly, is January through March, just to see where they've gone and what they've done, because it's an intriguing art. And so I'll give you a report on that down the road, I think. All right. Another topic that is always, always, always important, and that is school safety. The reason I mention it is because you, as parents in the community, are the eyes and ears that are very much involved in keeping our students and our staff safe in our schools. We want to make sure that we do everything possible that no child and no staff member in our school district is ever at any danger. But the reality of it is those things can and do happen. So I just wanted to take a moment just to remind you of some of the behavioral warning signs that don't always necessarily mean that someone might be inclined towards an act of school violence, but oftentimes have been associated with acts of school intrusion and school environment and school violence. So I ask you to keep an eye on changes in behavior of children, of dress, changes in their weight, and changes in their appearance, changes in school grades, changes in their friends, their group of friends, changes in attendance. Has their involvement in activities, whether it be in school or in the neighborhood or in the community, has that changed? Has there been any living arrangement changes that might cause a child to be in great distress? Have there been changes in their temperament or level of aggressiveness? Has a child indicated or demonstrated some increase in injurious behavior? Have they talked about weapons? Have they talked about suicide? Have they talked about owning weapons or a fascination with them? Have they talked about violence and acts of violence? Have they been engaged in any behavior, aggressive behavior, harmful behavior towards pets? Have they become isolated or withdrawn? Have they had more discipline issues that have come into play? Has there been any hostility towards anyone in the neighborhood or any of the student friends? Have they demonstrated any intense emotional feelings suddenly? So, those are not all the warning signs, but I don't mean to make this sound negative in nature to you. But these are some of the signs that precede, as I've indicated, very unfortunate acts that involve schools, students, and staff. And we don't want to give anyone a chance to harm our students or staff. So if you'd like a complete list of this, send me an email, and I'll be very glad to send you the list that I've spent a lot of time over the last 25 years working on crisis management plans, school violence issues, meeting with law enforcement officials, looking at reports from Secret Service and the FBI. And these are behavioral warning signs and indicators right from some of those major reports. So let's work together, continue to work together to make sure we keep everyone safe. I do want to mention, before I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, in talking with Kay Colbert, who is our wonderful new Director of Counseling at the high school. Today, in fact, November 15th, this is being filmed, we participated in Apply New Hampshire, which is part of the American College Application Campaign. This is a group of professionals that helps students apply, fill out applications, go through the process of college applications with them. They spend a lot of time with our students. The New Hampshire colleges and universities waive the application fee for any student who has spent time with the professionals from Apply New Hampshire in filling out an application today. And so that's very, very important. I want to thank Kay Colbert, our Director of Counseling, and her staff for working very energetically in terms of helping our students fill out college applications. It says, I'm going to read the last sentence here. It says, in addition to filling out and waiving the fees for college applications today, New Hampshire Department of Education, New Hampshire Charitable Foundation also provides scholarships to participating students, with each school, each participating high school, receiving one $500 scholarship to award to a participating student at their discretion, at the school's discretion. So, a great day, helping students, professionals, helping students apply for college, waiving the college application fee, and with a high school receiving a $500 scholarship funding that they can disperse at their discretion. Well, lots of things going on. Busy time of year. Please take time for yourself. If at any time you'd like to share any thoughts, any opinions, any ideas with me, please know that my door is always open. I always enjoy talking with you, hearing from you. You fund our salaries. And I want you to know what great things we do in the school district. And we're always, always, always trying to improve and make you proud of the Merrimack School District. It's a week before Thanksgiving. Great time of year. One of my favorite holidays, and I'm hoping one of yours also. And I wish you and your entire family a very happy Thanksgiving. This is Bill Olsen. I look forward to seeing you next time.